Hello everyone. We will wait for another minute so people have the chance to join, but we'll soon start. Yes, so let's start. First, I want to say welcome to this webinar, where we're gonna take a look at the reports, the different reports in and labels in Impact. My name is Linus Karlsson Ritzén, and many of you know who I am, but for those who doesn't, I'm working at the Impact StruSoft, and I'm mainly working with implementations of our applications at your different places. So it's nice to host this webinar today because we are a lot of participants. I think we have 94 signups, which is great. And as I mentioned, today we're gonna take a look at the reports in Impact, and the reason for that is basically that I know from experience that a lot of or all of you basically are using the reports, but maybe not all of you know what how to create them, how to edit them, and so on. So we wanted to show you this, and I got the honor to do it. I don't have any assistant today as I used to have, so there won't be any answers to questions that you write during the webinar. In the end of the webinar, we have a Q&A, so then I will pick out some questions to answer. But yeah, probably I won't be able to have time to answer all of them. But the ones who doesn't get the question answered, I will answer it after the webinar. So you will get an answer sooner or later at least. So let's get going. This is the short agenda that I prepared. So we are right now in the introduction part where we're gonna and then the next thing we're gonna do is to talk a little bit about what data we have in the model or in the project. It might be obvious, but I want to just touch on that topic a little bit. Then we have two main categories of reports and labels in Impact. So one is for design and one is for production. So we're gonna cover both, and for the production reports, we're actually gonna create a label and a report so that you have the possibility to see how to do it from scratch. And then we end with the Q&A that I promised before. So let's get started. I've prepared a demonstration model here. It's just like a normal model with a few element types. I think most are covered here, maybe not columns and beams. I know from the attendees list that all of you are working with in different departments. So we have everything from designers to people in the production and so on, and the transport planning and so on. So you all know that in an impact model, we contribute from all these different departments with the data. So if we start in the in the first step, we have the design department, which draws the elements, add geometries, add components, reinforcement, and so on, which is saved to the database and the model. Then in the next step, we have the planners. So the planners who put like general dates of, okay, when do we need this to be produced and so on. Then we have the production planners, which are putting, more detailed planning. So, okay, we're gonna take this element on this casting table at this date and so on. And then this end part is, okay, we're gonna transport it this time with this truck and so on. So all of this, data that you put into the system is collected in the database. And of course, the database is very, useful that you have everything live and updated. But sometimes it might be that you need to, or not sometimes, but a lot of times for each element, you need to print out the data in different ways. So it could be for, preparing the warehouse so that we have all the cost materials to prepare the production people. So okay, so that they know which element they're going to produce on the different casting tables and so on. Also, we need to track the elements. So the element labels is very important to get out and attach to the elements so that we can track the element with the data that we have. And so this is what we're gonna go through this, how to extract the data. And as I mentioned before, we're gonna start with the design reports. So the design reports, we won't cover everyone, of course, but I will just quickly show this report tool. I won't spend I will spend as less time here in this report tool as as possible. Of course, we will when we create the reports and stuff, we will be here, but this is very much data, and it could be a lot of a little bit boring to look at. But some parts we need to look at this anyways. But we can see here that, in our test database that we're going to use, we have a lot of different reports. Some are duplicates, but actually there are a lot of unique ones as well. So if I would just go here to the type, the list is not very big here, but it's very long. So you can see here when I scroll down, we have a lot of different types of reports. And half of it, or not half, but some of it is design and some is production. So when we talk about design reports, we are talking about the reports where we can get the components from elements, components like cost materials, reinforcement and stuff, materials, the quantity of the different materials that we use, list of drawings and list of elements. Of course, we have more, but that's a few examples. So these are, of course, created here in this tool, and I have prepared a few. So we're gonna look at these that I've called webinar. And one more thing that is important to know, that all the costs, or not all the main place of printing out the reports for design is not done like in the interface of the production as we see. Of course, you can do a few of them here, but the main like rule of thumb is that, okay, I want to bring out some data for components. Then I will go here to the backstage menu and have the reports. This is important to know also that, okay, when you new an impact, you might see, okay, here is reports. So I want to create my cost report from here. That you will see it's not possible, because from here we are only doing the design parts, or design bits of the reports. So yeah, I haven't used the project manager for a while, so it needs to reconnect to the database, it seems, but it will just take a second here. So the first report I want to print out is the yeah, the specification of custom materials. So this one I have prepared as I said before. So let's see here if we can get this to wake up. Yes, finally. So here we have the different reports that we can print out from here. And as I mentioned before, you can see that it's connected to the design part. So if I go down, I can see that, okay, I have a webinar cost material specification. And when I do the design or print out the design reports, I don't really, have a previous selection of the elements that I want to print the data for. So in this report dialog, we can see that after we filter out what report we want to do, we have this filter of selecting the data. And yeah, so here we can see that we have everything from building floor phase to different factories, what type of product, or if we want to sort it on or restrict it from one element mark to another. We can also do the statuses and so on. But for us, I think we can just say that we do one floor because yeah, we just need to see the data and how it looks like. But here I could also, if I would have more phases, I can filter out on that. Maybe I have different factories, so right now I'm gonna make a report and send to the warehouse of one of the factories. Then I just select the one that I'm working with right now. It could also be that I don't want to restrict a floor. I want to have all, but I want element mark from different selection. Then I can just say, yeah, let's say SW100 to SW105. Then maybe I want 200 and SW205. So I could do such a thing as well. But I will just say all from floor 1. Yeah, and then we have some more. Maybe you just want to include the ready for production, but I don't think I put the ready for production on this one, so it's not gonna work. And here we have a really nice thing. It might look bad, but it's actually good because I guess that most of you have experienced this. So this is happening when yeah, let's say that you have an existing project, as I have here, and then in the meantime that this project exists, you create this report, which I did earlier today. Then we don't have all the files, in the folder for the project. So you see that template file is missing. So how to solve it is pretty simple. We just right-click, update template, and print again. Now it's working. So here we also got some teaching moment of how to solve issues with the reports, the design reports mainly. But you can see here that we get a lot of data here, and yeah, we're getting it in different sheets because we cannot fit everything on the same. So here we have a good example. It's for the walls here. So we can see here that someone put not a very long, but a long name on the reference. So here I might, if this is some common thing, maybe I want to adjust my template and so that this reference is maybe a little bit wider. But I don't want to do it in every report, but I want to do it in the reference file or in the template file. I won't do it for this one, but we will later on work on other or create out-of-time reports, and then I can show you what I mean. But here we have structured the data or configured that, okay, for this report called cost material specification, I want to have some information. So I want to know what project I'm in, what's, who printed out the report, how many pages and page number, do I have any revisions right now, and yeah, when did I print it, basically. Here I don't think I added like the project description and title and so on, but here we could also expect to get those that information. Then, so this is like the main thing, and that's on all pages. But then we have what we are calling continuous, and I will go into detail to that later. And continuous is basically the data, the list. So the reason why it's continuous is that it can be, dynamic. So it will just, fill up depending on what data we selected. So here we can see that it's pretty simple. It's a specification of all the cost materials. So we can see that we have the cost material names, the descriptions and references, and the total sum. And then we have the different elements. So here we can see, okay, in element W1, we have one lifter. We have 6 plates and 2 bracings, and they are like sorted out in this way. So this might be, this is like a very detailed cost material report. It could be that you just want to, summarize, okay, I'm gonna cost the elements. I will close this down. I want to cost the elements on floor 1, and I just want to know how many cost materials I should prepare. I haven't prepared this summary, so maybe it doesn't work, but we can try. I think it will work. So we can try this one. Sorry, this one. So let's do the same selection here. Yeah, seems to be fine. Yes, so we can see here that it's very similar, but here instead of having one page or like a lot of pages with each element mark here, we instead have just a list of, okay, these are the cost materials used in the elements from the selection, and here is the amount of cost material that we will need for the production. So there are like 2 different reports for the same thing, and this is like in general. So if we would do the same thing for the reinforcement, we will have I can probably see here, we have like a summary and a specification. And the third one we haven't talked about is the difference. So it's more like, okay, I want to print out the first report, and then I don't want to include the elements. This is like a dynamic one, so this might be done every week. So in the first report, I will print out maybe everything that is ready for production. Then I will do it next week, and I will do the same report, but I don't want to include the things that I already prepared the week before, because that's already costed maybe. Then if I use this reinforcement difference, I just get the new things. So from each report that I produce, I will just, not use that data in the next one. So yeah, this is like the cost material and the reinforcement. So all the details about it, we can, I will show you in the end where you find like, description of each individual report. Now this webinar is more like to give you a sort of understanding of how the reports are used and how they're made. So before we go to the production reports, I want to just print out another one here, table of elements. So I will just do no filter here. let's see if we are getting some elements in a report. Maybe I have to update this one as well. It will probably be done in a second or so. I see that I'm on Wi-Fi, so that's probably the reason. Yes, we will let this one think a little bit, and we will just go ahead and start talking about the reports that we have for the production. So as I said before, I have prepared a few here, but we are going to also like see how they are made. So I will just, oh yeah, no, it's not. I'll just keep an eye on this one so that we can continue when it's done. But we'll just adjust to the situation here. So the next step is to print the reports and the labels for the production. And the first part that comes after the design would be the cost, I would say. So we'll start in the cost, and they're like, of course, everything is called reports or report tool, but I would say that we have both reports and labels. So reports are like, the lists that you hand out, and labels are the ones thing that you put on the stacks, on the elements, and so on, to keep track of it when it's in the production and in the transportation and so on. Okay, now we can see that we didn't have it. We'll just skip this one. It will be only a report with the content. So, but to go back to the production, we are gonna start with creating a label, and of course I could have prepared this, but I just wanted to show you how easy it could be to prepare the labels. Of course, it could be very complex as well, but I have prepared the background here a little bit, so it will not take too much time. And as many of you know, both the labels and the reports are based on Excel. So when we're gonna start create a new report or label, we're gonna start with an Excel file. So I will open one that I have called the element label 2 here. It should be empty. It is. And I will also cheat a little bit, so I have one done here. So this is the aim for us. We want to get something that looks like this. Of course, we don't have the data here because this is like the template, but we just have the headlines and some CE marking and the logo and some information. So I will just put it here on the other screen so that I remember what and where to put in. And yeah, I will just make it easier for you to see what I'm doing by removing the white area here. So yeah, basically most of our customers when they start using Impact, they already, and this is like the production factories though, then they probably already have some sort of label that they want to use, and this means that we have a size to be restricted to. So in this case, my size that I will create my label in is this one here. I've prepared this, the row heights and width so that we are getting some good look of it. But when it's like the first time you're doing the report, you will just start from a blank Excel and do the foundations here basically. But we are done with that. So basically what I will do is to start with configuring everything. So first of all, I want to have my headline, and I will like to print some line here so that we have a good division. Um, then I want to add the information. Maybe that's like too detailed, but I want to say that this is an element label. Let's see if I can do this instead. Okay, I will just go back because something had happened with my file, I think. Okay, we'll just skip this one and just put the the logo on top. So yeah, I will put this one here. Put the logo in. So I'll copy that from the other one. Something like this. And here I want to, decide what, where to get my data. So in the bigger fields here, I've decided to put the data that comes from the report, and then I want to have the the headlines just smaller because it's not as important, I would say. So on top here, I want to have the element mark. Then I want to have element ID, then storage location. If that's set in the when I print the label, of course. Then it would be nice to have the geometry, so length, width, and height, and then mass. And then it could be nice to have the production date like this. My factory also have this stamp here with a CE marking. So this is basically the data that I want in this report. Of course, I want project as well, so I will just put this one down here and say project. And oh no, like this. So this is basically my headlines, and you can see here that I have a bigger cell. Here I want to put my QR code, and the thing I just want to do is I just want to prepare the size of it so that it fits and it looks good. So I want to have a like this square here. So then I will just put white here so that we have no lines in it. Looks pretty good. So now my first step is done. So I will just save this, and the next part I will do is to go to my report tool, and here I have my element label set up. So now the data part starts. So I will have this one on my second screen, but when I need it or when you need to show it, I will drag it to the correct screen. So the first thing we need to know, now it's prepared here, but we need to select the type. You see this list that I showed you before is like the different report type that we have available. So our report or label should be an element label, so which is correct here. Then we need to specify the file name. So this is the template file name. So if I go here, I can see that, okay, this is my file. So I will just say Control A and Control C. I can save the changes directly. So this is my first step. Then the second part here the page X, max X and Y is because if I go here, now I've created one label, but maybe I want to print out a lot of label in the same time. Then Impact needs to know, okay, how many cells, like the size of it, how many cells is one label. So this is what we're gonna do now. So X is the letters here, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then we do 11, and I do 1 on each side here as well. So 9 and 11, 9, 11. Then we have these continuous header rows and so on. These are for the reports where we have data. So this is not important for our label. So we'll just save. So what's on this first, we need to say, okay, the element label or the element type or report type, what template to use, and the size of it. Then we have the next one, which is header and footer. And this is only for labels because, as I said before, it's not a report, so we don't have or a list, so we don't have the data. So what we need to do here is to, first of all, we need to select the data fields. So that we will do. But then we also need to specify, where, in which cell should we put the data. So for instance, I want element mark to be filled in here. And that means that, okay, the X cell will be 2, which is the B here. And then the Y cell is 3. So I will just create the data fields first. So I will just say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Like this. I hope that's 9, otherwise we will see it. So if I start from the top, I have my element mark. Then I have my element ID. And then we have the project. So project name. We have the storage. Storage location. The field names here, it might be a little bit tricky for a beginner to know it, but in the end of this webinar, I will show where you can find all the documentations for this. So bear with me. We want to have the length. We want to have the width. The height. And I promise I won't spend too much time on creating 100 data fields here. I want to just do a few. So mass, and in the end, we want to have production date. Like this. So this is the data we want, and yeah, now it's just time to fill it in. So as we can see here first, this should be 2, 3, and we can see that, okay, both element mark, element ID, project, and storage have the cell in X direction the same, so everyone will be 2, and we'll have 3, 5, 7, and 9. So we'll just say X2, and then we say 3, 5, 7, and 9. Then it's the same for length, so I want length here, which means that it's 4 in X direction, then 5, 7, 9, 11. So we say 4, 5, 7, 9, 11. And this is very important that this will be filled in properly, because it could be that I would say yeah, maybe I misclick here or miswrite, so I say 3 instead. Then they will end up in these small cells, and everyone who used the Excel before knows that if we have too many, yeah, not this, but when you have too many letters or symbols in a small cell, then we cannot print out the information, and you will have this, yeah, these signs. So these hashtags, I think it is. So it's important that you select a cell that have a proper size for the use. So production date is the last one. So it's in 2, 4, 6, 5. And yeah, we save. And now we have an element label. So let's hope that this works. I did it live now, so who knows? I will just take this one here, this cast embed, and I will see if we can print it out and use it. So element label. This is the label that we did. Print. And now we will see if it will work. And it looks pretty decent. We see the data, and here is one more time. Maybe we would have created this one a little bit bigger. In this case, for the labels, as you remember what I said in the beginning, that often the labels are, restricted to a specific size. So here I might not change the size of the cells, and maybe I rearrange it a little bit, but maybe I instead, not like this, but change the size of the text a little bit. But you can see here that I forgot to add the QR code. So yeah, it's not the whole world, but I want to show you how that's done. And it's basically done by creating a new data parameter like this and specifying that in the correct cell. Let me see, I think I have some sort of yeah. So here we can see this one is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We'll do that like this. So if you miss the QR code, it's just prepare the size of the cell and then print it out. Yeah, looks good. Now I'm very happy, and this will be useful for I have all the data that I want, and if I want more data, I can just scan it with my phone in Impact Go. So that's great. So this is how we do the labels. Very simple label, but you get the drill. So everything just you can make this as complex as you want and adjust the size and so on. But this is basically it. Create the template, put the data set, data fields, and yeah, use it basically. So let's close this one and go ahead with creating a report, because now we did the label, and the report is very similar, but it requires a lot of more data in different areas. So let's say that I will start with just creating a report for this one. So this is today, and maybe I will just take tomorrow. So I will prepare for the people in the factory. So the people working on table 1, I want to give them the information of the element that they will cost. It's a lot, so they need to be able to have yeah, an overview. So I have this prepared report called the cost calendar, which looks like this. So we have some information and we have the table. I will then also take the whole day here basically and print a cost calendar with the same report. And yeah, we'll see if we can see some difference. So if I manage to, which I don't, I will just do like this then. But you can see here that we have used the same, this is a better example. We've used the same reports, but since I, in the first one, selected one table, I just got the data 1, and the sum will come like this. If I do the more tables, they will extend in the direction of the X line or axis until it reaches its maximum. And this is the difference, or one of the difference with the report elements, or report to label. That the report is more like we have different types of data and different ways of handling it. So I will actually create my own report here for this cost calendar to show you how it's done. So we'll do it the same way. I will open my production calendar. Here I prepared already, so I won't do anything about the content of the template, but this is like fine enough for me. So what I will need to do is work more in the report tool here. So this is my template, and if I go here, I will move this to the other screen. So prepared the stacked planning here. Let's see if okay, it's the wrong one. Sorry, it's the cost calendar, of course. This one is 0. So this first part here is the same. We need to select the type, select the name of the template, and the X and Y max. So this is like now it's not the size of the label, but it's more like, okay, what size is okay. If I print out on A4, what's the optimal size? So let's say that I'm gonna have 40 to 40 to 40. Let's say that like this. So now, until now, we have the same as the label, but now we just have the size of the whole report. Then we can see, if we go back here, that we have 2 different areas of the reports. Let's say here, this is the top, so this is the header. Here we just put one value, so we have one factor, one division, and so on. Then we have the continuous, so basically the list. So here is like all the elements that we select basically and the tables. So as I said before, this continuous is like common for both labels and reports, but sorry, not continuous, this header. Then this continuous is only for the lists. So we start with the first narrowing down. So where should the continuous start? So first we have the header, which is the description. So I've prepared the light blue here, so row number 7. And then, okay, when should the continuous, like the data, come? And usually that's just the row after it. When should we end this? And yeah, we usually end it at the same here. If this was a design report, we would also may use this sum, so summarizing how many and so on. Then we could fill it in here, but for this kind of report, it's not necessary. So we just save. So here we'll see that, okay, from 8 to 40, we have the possibility to add data for the report. If it extends 40, then we'll just create a new page. The next part here is header and footer. So this is the similar thing with a label that we saw, header and footer. So this is the top, the information at the top. So if we go back here, we have the period. So it's basically the dates that we print out this report for, what factory and what division. So I will create 3 fields here. Period. Let's see, we have the production factory and division. Perfect. Just find out quickly. So this one is 2, 3. This one is 2, 4, 6, 7. So we have 2, 3, 7, 3, and 7, 4. Oh, and division should be 4. And this one should have 7, 3. So we just prepared very basic for this one, for the header, since we went through it before. But then we're going to the continuous, and this continuous is more complex than, for instance, continuous for, we have this stack planning here. So here is just like, yeah, you see just X and Y cell. columns here. But in our continuous here, we have 3 columns. And the reason is that, as we saw in the reports that we printed out, here we have the headers. We're getting the headers, but if I would use the same headers as I have here, I will just take them and make a good example. I'll copy them, and I will take the report that I printed out next, and I will just say until H here and print. So if I would put the headers as I do with period, factory, and so on in the template, if I would do the same with the headers for the element here, we'll see that they will it won't work, because then for table 1 it's perfect, but then for table 2 it's like total sum and total volume, and I guess you can see the issue here. So for this we want to have continuous headers, so the data is continuous vertically, but the headers and the data, the tables should be continuous in the X direction. So that's why we leave the template empty of the headers for continuous field and just put the header names here. So I will just go here and see. First parameter we want, or not parameter, but is the start date. So it's basically what the date we should do the cost. The second one here is the element. So we have this with X here. So this means that this is the continuous. It will be repeated for each table. So we have X element mark, then we have X element ID, and then it's only the mass that we need. So X mass. Sorry, I've deleted that one. Then we need some summarization. So for each day we want to know how much we costed in volume and so on. So we have we have totals. So we say number of elements because that's interesting. We also want to have a total of area. We want total of mass, and let's say total of volume. That's good. Then the thing with this is that, okay, it's only the X value that we care about, because the Y value will be the same all the time, because we want to have it not here but here. No, sorry. We want to have everything on row number 7. So we do just set the 1 here, like this. And then we continue, so start date should be 1 as well, because we want to start from here. Then we want 2, 3, and 4. Then these ones will repeat. So if I save here, I can just do it later. So these will repeat. So for each table that we take, but I don't know how many tables I want to select, so I can just continue with this summarize, because these won't always be starting on 5. It might be on 15, depending on how many tables I want to select. So now I've done that. So basically now we should be ready to print this, because we created like the size and said what template to use, restricted like where the continuous data should start and so on, and we put the information in the header as well as in the continuous. So we'll see if this works fine. Yeah, I forgot one thing, of course, is the headers actually. So we can say date here, we say mark, we say ID, because if we don't fill in this, it will be empty. Mass, number, we can say total number, total area, total mass, total volume, something like this. So let's see here. Now I take the same selection, print, cost calendar. So you see here that I didn't mention it before for the production, but the design reports I did in the backstage menu, the reports for or reports and labels for production I do from the different modules here. So I select my calendar 2 and print. Hopefully it works. You never know when it's live, but it seems to work. You see here that we're getting the headlines nice and easy here. Yeah, we're getting for one day the summary and so on, and number 4 here didn't fit, so that's why it's here. I can of course also not only do one day, but let's say we want to print out this for the week, if that's possible. So then I'll just print it out, and then it will, be more data, but the content will probably or basically be the same. So you see here that we, instead of just one day, we have each days and see what we do. And here we can like keep track. So okay, maybe we have an issue here that this day we only do 3 elements, but here we do 23. Then we should put it evenly. But I just put the elements randomly. So we won't spend too much more time to create the reports because all of them are basically the same. There are like two different groups to summarize. We have the design reports and the production reports. Then in these reports we have 2 different fields basically. We have the headers and the continuous. So the headers is like information that you just need once, and the continuous is the data from from the elements or from the custom materials and so on. So I just want to show you one more report, and that's for the transport part, which is for the stack. So I prepared some stacks here on an A rack. So I want to use this one here. We'll make it a little bit bigger. So the reason I want to show this is that I think it was last year we developed a report that is specific for this one, this type of stack. Because when you do a horizontal stack, for instance, you just like load it right away, and then you can see it from a list. But here you want to place, the elements on the correct side of the mid part here. So instead of having numbers, you can of course have numbers and stuff, but we want to make it graphically as well. So when I print out this one here, I have this called Special Stack Planning Visual A Rack. So I prepared the report here. So this will basically just, I'll put this one here like this. So what this report does, it's not this one, but it's this one here. So what this one does is it is the same. We are having the header here, also a QR code, but header with the data that we want to have in the reports, and then we have the continuous. But what we do here for the A racks is that the order that we see here, and also the empty row here, is the actual A rack from the top. So the empty row is where we have the mid part, and then if we see this one here, it's ID number 720. If I go here, this is 720. This is probably 5. This is probably 960, and this is 961. So if I click here, it's 961. So this is like one specific template or report I wanted to show, but it's more to cover the whole range of reports. And I can see that we have 5 more minutes, so time flies. I can see that. So we are gonna soon round off, but as I promised you, we have 2 more things to do. I wanted to show you where we have all the different details about the reports, because now we just went through how to use a few of them and how to create a basic label and a basic report. But if you want to dig deeper into the what more reports can my company use and so on, we have everything collected here in the Impact Wiki. So I will just move this to the screen here. So our Impact Wiki, wiki.impact.strusoft.com, it's available from this. You can search for it. You can find it on our website or so on. So here we, in the left side, we have the list of basically all the modules and applications. So report tool, Impact Report tool, and here we have just a short information of how to set find it and so on. But if you scroll down, we have prepared, or my colleagues have prepared, one report each. So for all the types, we have one report that you can download. So also, like the follow-up here, or let's say something that we looked at, maybe the cost material specification. We have everything from how to set it up, what the data that is available, and in the bottom here also how to print it, but also in the bottom you can download the reports. So it might be that you don't feel that comfortable creating it from scratch, then you can just download one that we have created here, and then just tweak it with, maybe you want to translate it to your language, maybe you want to have some other data in it, put your logo and so on, but then you have something to start from. And we have 61 different reports, so it's just pick and choose here. So but here we have also like information if it's design. Some are like borderline design and production and so on. But here you can go through and find it. So that's great. I will go back to my PowerPoint presentation. I will switch here so that you see the correct screen. So this is where we ended up with the Impact Wiki. Sorry, my bad. And the last thing we have to do is to do some Q&A. And I'll see if I can find a question, a good one. I see that you have a few questions here, but some are more complex than others. I want to see if I can grab some easy one to answer. This I don't see the whole things here. I don't know why. Okay, I will just answer your questions later on, because something happened with the interface here, so I just see parts of the questions, which is then difficult for me to to answer. But you can expect answers to questions after this webinar in the emails. And also, if you don't have any questions now, maybe you didn't ask. I see that we have a few that asked the question. But if you don't have it right now, but you try with creating reports or so on, then you can of course contact me directly. You have my contact details here on the first page. We'll also send out this webinar as a video, so you will be able to rewatch it, or you just contact or my colleagues in our support. They will be more than happy to answer your questions and help you to get your reports and labels sorted. So again, I will send answers to your questions after this webinar. And then I just want to thank all of you for for the attention. It was nice to show you these reports and labels, and I hope that you found it, found some new knowledge at least. I know that some of you are very experienced, but a few of you might have picked up some things. So yeah, see you, and have a nice afternoon.